Section 3 is called Solve for Y and Use the Graph or Table. So this section is a little different because our questions are not going to be set up to just immediately plug into the calculator. The previous two sections, it was set up and ready. On this section, we probably are going to have to solve for Y before we can plug into the calculator. All right, that's why that skill set is so important, because once we solve for Y, the calculator can give us a lot of information. So for this section, we are not going to do this first question here. You're going to go ahead and flip your page over, and we're going to start on what looks like question 49. It says, which graph best represents this system of equations and its solutions? So we have two equations here, and our answer choices are graphs. All right. Now, the beautiful thing is we have a graphing calculator, so we can figure out which graph it's going to look like. But these two equations, right now, I can't type those into the calculator as they are. So we have to do a little bit of work before we can use the calculator. We need to take each of these equations and we need to solve them for Y first. So this is kind of like what we did on the warm-up. Let's take this first equation and let's solve it for Y. So I'm going to write it over here to the right a little bit. 8x minus 4y equals negative 16. Let's solve for y. So subtract 8x from both sides. It's going to cancel on the left. So that's going to leave us with negative 4y equals negative 8x minus 16. And then to get y by itself, we need to divide both sides by negative 4. That's going to get us y by itself over here. So that leaves us with y equals negative 8 divided by negative 4 is 2x. Negative 16 divided by negative 4 is positive 4. So now we have one equation ready to go in the calculator. We've got to take our other one and solve for y. So 3x plus 15y equals negative 6. So these are the things that I'm going to be looking for when you guys turn in your packet, all this work. That's the things I'm going to be looking for. So solve for y. Subtract 3x from both sides. That leaves us with 15y equals negative 3x minus 6. And then for us to solve for y, we need to divide everything by 15. All right? So that's going to give us y equals negative 3 over 15. If you type that into your calculator, it's going to give you negative 1/5 x. Okay? And then negative 6 divided by 15. If we type that in, sorry for the glare, negative 6 divided by 15. It's going to give us negative 0.4. So we're going to use that, negative 0.4. I like keeping my slope in a fraction because it shows me rise over run. So we have one equation right here. We have the other equation right here. Those are the two things that we need to type in the calculator, and it's going to match one of our answers. So 2x plus 4. Let's type that into y1. So now it's more like a question from the first section, but we had to do a little bit of legwork. And then this is the other equation. So we're going to type that in. Negative 1 divided by 5x minus 0.4. And now let's look at the graph. Okay, so does it match A? No, because that blue line is different than that. Does it match C? No, it doesn't. Does it match B? It does look like it matches B. It does not match D. So we had to do a little bit of legwork, but we ended up getting the calculator to tell us that the answer is B. And again, a reminder, this is a section that will earn you credit towards your test grade for today. Okay, these require showing some work I have to see this work. This is one of the sections I'll be looking at when I'm giving you a grade for today. So that's our first question. The other one that we're going to do, you're going to turn your page, and you're eventually going to get to question 23. Here's our other example. The graph of a linear function is shown on the grid. Which equation is best represented by this graph? All right. Now, if these were all solved for y, this would be really easy. Plug it into the calculator and find out. But these are all in point slope form. Lucky for us, we know how to go from point slope to slope intercept, and it's 2 steps. Okay? Step 1, distribute. We're going to do that with answer choice A. So take your equation and write it on the right. Y plus 2 equals 7 over 5, x plus 7. And let's solve for y. 2 steps. Distribute. So that's going to keep our right side the same on this step. 7 over 5 times x is 7 over 5x. That's normal. That's just a slope. And then 7 over 5 times 7. 7 divided by 5 times 7. It's going to give us 9.8. So plus 9.8. All right. Now to solve for y, the only issue is we need to move that 2 to the other side. So subtract 2 and subtract 2. Y equals 7 over 5x plus 7.8. So if you have no idea what that graph looks like, you can use a calculator and type it in. That's the calculator trick. But in slope-intercept form, I know that that's the y-intercept. And this y-intercept is -3. So I know that A is not the answer. All right? If you have no idea what this graph looks like, you solve for y, but you don't know what the graph looks like, type it into y equals, look at your graph, and see if it looks like that. Okay? Let's do one other answer choice. Let's do answer choice D. Y minus 2 equals 5 over 7, x minus 1. We're going to do that work over here. Y minus 2 equals 5 over 7, x minus 7. All right, so solve for y. Distribute. The right side stays the same for this step. 5 over 7x. 5 over 7 times -7 is going to give us -5. And then to solve for y, we got to add 2 and add 2. Y equals 5 over 7x minus 3. That right there has the same y-intercept. So I feel like this is the answer. And if I type that into my calculator, I would see that they look exactly the same. And the answer choice is D. Okay? So, guys, this section is the section that I'm going to be looking at for your grade. All right? Other questions on here, I have to see work of you solving for y. If I don't see work, I'm not going to be able to give you credit. You're going to have 10 minutes and maybe a little bit more. If the substitute feels like you need more, you need to be completing the other questions in this section. This is the most important section for me when I'm giving you a grade for today. So do as many as you can, work with the people around you, but please stay in your seat. The timer is going to start, and you guys are going to begin working on this section.